Animated Parashá with Micha, Animated 2.0. Welcome to another Animated Parashá with Micha, Animated. This week, Parashat Vayechi, the last Parashah of Chumash Bereshit. The first Chumash, Vayechi, in Hebrew means, and he lived. In this version, you ask and I answer. At least I try. Let's get to the question.
Micha, can you swear by the Torah?
Officially, it is forbidden to swear by the Torah because many of the people who swear cannot fulfill their oaths. However, in some situations, we find the concept of an oath, especially in our Parasha. Yaakov came to Egypt and lived for 17 years. When he felt that he was about to die, he called his son Yosef and made him swear that after his death, he would take him out of Egypt and bury him in the famous cave that Micha has already explained, where four couples are buried: Adam and Eve, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rivka, and now Jacob and Leah. And yes, Yosef swore, promising his father to take his bones back to the land of Israel. Yaakov loved the sons of Yosef very much. Before his death, he asked them to come into his room. Yosef then positioned Manasseh in front of Jacob's right hand and Ephraim in front of Jacob's left hand. Yaakov then crossed his hands and made an X. He switched, placing his right hand on Ephraim, who was younger, and his left hand on the head of Manasseh, who was older. Yosef didn't understand and said to his father, "It's wrong. Ephraim is the younger one. Manasseh is the older one. Your right hand should be on Manasseh." And Yaakov replied, "I know, but Ephraim will be greater than Manasseh. From Ephraim, the future leader of the people of Israel will emerge, who will enter the land of Israel with his people." We're talking about Yehoshua, whom Micha will tell you more about later.
Micha, what blessing did Yaakov give to the sons of Yosef?
One of the most beautiful blessings of the Torah we read at night before bedtime. The angel who saved me from all evil. He will bless these young men, and he will call them by name, and the name of my ancestors. They will multiply greatly throughout the land.
את הנערים ושם אבותיי אברהם ויצחק ויתגו לרוב בקרב הארץ.
Do you tune in there too? Through the camera. Do you tune it? After Yaakov blessed Ephraim and Manasseh, he called each of his sons for a final word, some in a tone of blessing, others in a tone of reprimand. Let's go! And briefly, Reuven, the oldest, did not receive the blessing he expected. His father criticized that he was too, like me, anxious. You know what Reuven used to do? He would switch his father's mattress from Rachel's tent to his mother Leah's tent. His father did not consider the actions right, and therefore Reuven was in a way reproached. Shimon and Levi then entered together and were also reproached for the killing of Shechem. Remember when Micha told you that Dinah was kidnapped? Shimon and Levi avenged her. Yaakov didn't like that. Despite everything, Yaakov promised that from Shimon, great scholars and rabbis of the Torah would come, and from Levi, and from the tribe of Levi, would come the Kohanim, the priests, and the Levim, the Levites. By the way, I am from the tribe of Levi. Yehudah entered his father's room, and Jacob said to him, "Ah, you represent the people of Israel, the strength, the lion. The kingship will come from you." The greatest kings of Israel came from the tribe of Yehudah, such as David and his son Solomon. Issachar and Zebulun were blessed together. Apparently, the first society was born here. And why Micha? Zebulun worked and Issachar studied. Yaakov then formed the first partnership. If you are good at studying, stay in your studies. The entrepreneur will sponsor your studies, and you as a scholar will donate part of your merits to the entrepreneur who is sponsoring your studies. That was how the society of Issachar and Zebulun was. Zebulun went out to the sea for trade, and Issachar, like a donkey carrying the load, sat and studied the Torah. Dana entered his father's room and was compared to a snake. The snake is a dangerous animal even when dead. It can still poison you. From Dana came one of the strongest biblical characters we've ever heard of, Shimshon, Samson, the famous long-haired one, who has a beautiful and wonderful story that More Micha will tell you, God willing, in a concise and summarized way. Samson lost his hair and lost his strength, and one last time he asked God to have the strength to break the foundation of a house, and he and all the Perushtim died with the collapse of the house. God entered his father's room and heard about how this tribe would help the people conquer the land of Israel through their strength. And indeed, it happened that God was positioned on the other side of the Jordan. They were very strong and very useful to all the people of Israel at the time of conquest. Asher was blessed with abundant trees and olives, which brought great blessings to his tribe. Naphtali was blessed with speed and agility, as More Micha will tell you shortly. Yosef was blessed with the famous blessing,
Ben porat Yosef, ben porat aleyain.
the blessing that will not fall on the tribe of Yosef, the evil eye, the anxious eye. Since Yosef stood in front of his mother in that famous encounter between Yaakov and Esav, where everyone knelt before Esav. Yosef stood in front of his mother so that Esav would not cast his eyes on his mother, Rachel, who was very beautiful. At that moment, Jacob thanked him and said, "Because of this, the evil eye, the envious eye, will not reign over the tribe of Yosef." Benjamin was compared to a wolf, signaling to the first king of the people of Israel, Shaul, who came from Benjamin and fought with many peoples and won. Benjamin still had the merit that the Beit HaMikdash, the great sanctuary of God, was built in his land. Yaakov then asked his sons to bury him in the cave that Abraham bought for Sarah from Ephraim. He gathered his feet and passed away. All the sons wept, all the grandchildren wept, all the land of Egypt wept. For 70 days, they mourned the death of the last patriarch, Yaakov. After 70 days, Yosef asked Pharaoh for permission. "I need to fulfill the promise, to take my father back to the land of Israel and bury him in the cave Me'arat HaMachpelah." Obviously, Pharaoh allowed it. But when the coffin of Yaakov arrived, guess who was there, waiting? Tell me, director, who was there waiting? Shaul, Esav. Very well. Esav claimed that the last space in the cave belonged to him. The sons of Yaakov said, "Absolutely not. This is our father's request. The last space is for Yaakov." And a fight began. Imagine, what contempt for the dead. Yet, the sons of Yaakov said to Esav, "There is a contract that you signed, Esav, stating that this land belongs to our father." Esav asked, "Where's the contract? I want to see it." Guess who rushed back to Egypt and got that contract? Naphtali, who was blessed with agility. When Naphtali came out, Hushim, that was the name of the individual, Hushim the son of Dan. He took a spear and cut off the head of Esav. Finally, Yaakov came to rest in Me'arat HaMachpelah. Our sages say that the head of Esav also ended up being buried in this cave. Yosef lived 110 years. After his death, a new stage begins in the history of the Jewish people, slavery. This story I will tell in the second Chumash, Chumash Shemot. God willing, in the Animated Parashá with More Micha Animated. This Parasha leaves us with a great legacy. How we must fulfill our promises and our words, showing our loyalty to the people with whom we commit ourselves. It shows the honor that children and grandchildren have for their father and for their grandfather. It also emphasizes the importance of traditions remaining closed within our families. When the people of Israel integrated too much with Egypt, unfortunately, these traditions began to be lost and problems began to arise. What do you think of this teaching? Leave your comments, subscribe to our channel, and leave your like. We concluded Chumash Bereshit. God willing, we will return with the Animated Parashá with More Micha Animated version 2.0 in Chumash number 2. Chumash Shemot. Don't forget to recount the Parashah in your home, for your family, and of course, at the Shabbat table. See ya! The Animated Parashah with More Micha Animated 2.0.